You walk through life with a quiet suspicion you do not belong here. You sit in crowded rooms and feel like a ghost. You watch the rituals of ambition, noise, and distraction, and something in you whispers that this world is not your home. Have you not asked yourself why you cannot adapt as easily as others seem to? Why shallow conversations drain you, while silence feels like air? Why the values celebrated by the masses leave you cold, while truths no one dares to speak burn inside you? You have tried to fit in. You wore the mask of politeness, the costume of ambition, the smile that promised belonging. But every time the disguise suffocated you. How many times have you walked away from gatherings more lonely than when you arrived? How many times have you wondered if your difference is a flaw when perhaps it is a flaw? Jung reminds you, the soul that refuses illusion cannot thrive in a world addicted to it. Your alienation is not evidence of weakness, but of vision. You see too clearly what others deny. You feel too deeply what others numb. You hunger for truth in a world that worships appearances. And this estrangement is not accident. It is initiation. So the piercing question confronts you. Will you keep betraying yourself for the comfort of belonging? Or will you dare to accept the signs that you were never meant to conform? For only then does exile reveal itself, not as punishment, but as path. From childhood, you were trained to adapt. You were told to smile, even when you wanted to weep, to obey, even when your soul resisted, to play along so you would not stand out. Yet even then, did you not feel the quiet dissonance? While others seemed content to chase approval, did you not already sense that something in you could not bow to the same gods? The world rewards conformity. It praises ambition without depth, noise without meaning, tolerance of lies so long as appearances are kept. But what happens when you cannot comply? What happens when the mask suffocates, when the script feels hollow, when the crowd's applause sounds more like chains than freedom? Have you not felt the crushing weight of being different, only to wonder if the difference was your defect or your calling? Carl Jung warned that alienation often accompanies individuation. To refuse illusion is to estrange yourself from those who live by it. You see through roles, rituals, and facades that others mistake for life. And because you cannot blind yourself as easily, you are marked as strange, difficult, or detached. But is that not simply the price of vision? Do you not already know that your refusal to settle is less rebellion than fidelity to what is real? The context is merciless. Your sense of not belonging is not weakness, it is a sign of depth. You carry truths that the crowd cannot bear. You resist illusions that others depend on, and so you are exiled not because you are broken, but because you refuse to break yourself into the shapes demanded by the world. So the piercing question presses in. Will you keep forcing yourself into molds that corrode your soul? Or will you accept the estrangement as evidence that you were never meant for shallow belonging? For perhaps what feels like exile is the first proof that you belong to something greater. Carl Jung's psychology offers a severe but liberating framework for understanding why you often feel you are not meant for this world. Your estrangement is not random. It follows patterns within the psyche that refuse to comply with collective illusion. If you are willing to examine these foundations, you may begin to see that what feels like exile is evidence of fidelity to your deepest self. The persona, the suffocating mask. You were taught early to wear a face that pleases, polite, agreeable, ambitious, easy to manage. Jung called this the persona, the social mask you craft to survive in the collective. But what happens when the mask no longer fits? Have you not felt the strain of smiling when your soul wept, of playing roles that felt hollow, of bending yourself into shapes that earned applause but cost your essence? The persona secures belonging, but at the price of suffocation. To outgrow it is to step outside the crowd. Your alienation begins here, not because you are weak, but because you refuse to drown in false roles. The shadow, the refusal to repress. Most people survive by repressing what does not fit the persona. Anger is buried beneath politeness, despair beneath cheer, selfishness beneath service. But you cannot repress so easily. Your shadow rises. You feel too much, see too much, know too much. Have you noticed how your refusal to deny pain sets you apart from those who numb themselves with distraction? Your alienation deepens because you carry what others disown. They exile you not for being broken, but for being unwilling to join their pact of denial. Complexes, the wounds of rejection. Yet, estrangement wounds. You carry scars of being called too sensitive, too different, too much. These wounds become complexes, clusters of pain that whisper that your uniqueness is flaw, that your exile is proof of inferiority. How many times have you doubted yourself, mistaking depth for defect? These complexes ensnare you in self-questioning, but paradoxically, they also protect you by refusing shallow belonging. You preserve your authenticity. What you call rejection may in fact be protection. Projection society as enemy. Because you resist illusion, you often project onto society itself, seeing the collective as hostile, shallow, corrupt. And is it not often true? But Jung warns, projection is always double-edged. Sometimes the hostility you feel from the world reflects the hostility you harbor toward yourself for being different. Do you not notice how quickly you assume others will reject you even before they speak? How often do you exile yourself before the world has a chance? Your projection feeds your alienation, even as it reveals how deeply you crave a place where truth is honored. The self. The call to individuation. At the center of Jung's psychology lies the self, the wholeness you are meant to embody. To live toward the self is to walk apart, refusing to dissolve into the crowd. Individuation demands that you integrate persona, shadow, and wounded complexes into a larger unity. But this path is costly. It strips away illusions of belonging. It leaves you walking roads few travel. And yet, is this not the very ache you feel? That you are called not to the comfort of sameness, but to the severity of truth? What if your alienation is not punishment, but initiation into individuation? The structure of estrangement. Taken together, these Jungian foundations form the architecture of your alienation. The persona suffocates. The shadow refuses repression. Complexes wound you with doubt. Projection estranges you further. And the self calls you to walk alone. No wonder you feel you are not meant for this world. It is because you are being summoned to live beyond its illusions. So the piercing questions rise. How much longer will you wear the persona to buy a place among the shallow? How much of your energy is spent repressing truths that will not stay buried? How many times will you call yourself broken because you cannot thrive in a world built on denial? And most urgently, will you keep mistaking exile for failure? Or will you finally accept it as the sign that you are being led toward the self? Because Jung's insight is merciless. The world belongs to those who conform, but the soul belongs to those who refuse. If you feel you are not meant for this world, perhaps it is because you are meant to build another one, rooted not in masks, but in truth. Your alienation is not accident, it is destiny. The question is whether you will honor it. Alienation is not abstract, you live it every day. It shows itself in ordinary places, yet it burns with extraordinary weight. These examples are not coincidences, they are signs. If you have felt them, you already know the quiet truth. Your estrangement is woven into the structure of your life. Workplace, the weight of false ambition. You sit in meetings where everyone nods to plans no one believes in. Targets are praised as sacred, though they hollow the soul. You watch colleagues scramble for promotions, applause, and empty recognition while something in you recoils. Have you not wondered why achievement feels like ash in your hands? Why tasks meant to prove your worth drain you instead of fueling you? Others call you unmotivated, detached, even arrogant. But is it not that you see through the charade, that you cannot worship false gods of status without betraying yourself? In a world built on ambition without depth, your refusal brands you as outsider. Relationships, the burden of shallow intimacy. You have been told that love means tolerance of lies, compromise of truth, and endurance of roles. Partners expect you to play along, to soothe egos, to silence yourself, to carry the weight of their unhealed wounds. But you cannot. How many times have you been accused of being cold simply because you refuse to pretend? How often has your hunger for depth been twisted into fault, as if longing for honesty were crime? Shallow scripts repel you, scripted romance suffocates you. You do not withdraw because you lack love, you withdraw because you cannot call illusion love. And so again, you stand apart. Family, the cage of tradition. From childhood, you were marked as different. You questioned rules others obeyed blindly. You refused traditions that demanded silence over truth. Families often survive on repetition of patterns, unquestioned loyalties, unspoken agreements. But you disturb the cycle. How many times have you been called difficult, ungrateful, rebellious, simply for asking the questions no one dared? How many times have you been pressured to play roles that suffocated you? Dutiful child, silent sibling, compliant relative? To family, your refusal appears as defect. But is it not clarity? Is it not fidelity to truth over comfort? Again, your alienation is not weakness, it is integrity. Friendships, the drift away from superficiality. You sit among friends while gossip circles the table and you feel your soul retreat. You listen to conversations about trends, distractions, endless noise, and you feel like an intruder. You try to join, but your silence betrays you. Have you not noticed how your friendships often dissolve without conflict simply because you cannot sustain the superficial? Others call you distant, elusive, unreliable. But is it not that their togetherness feels hollow to you? Is it not that you would rather be alone than drowned in noise that erases your soul? And so, slowly, you drift. Strangers, the uneasy mirror. Even with those you do not know, the pattern repeats. Strangers confide in you without reason, drawn as if you carry gravity. Others bristle, avert their eyes, or grow uneasy, sensing in you something they cannot name. Have you not felt this uncanny polarity, how people either reveal themselves to you or flee from you? You carry an aura that strips away pretenses. Some feel seen for the first time and thank you. Others feel exposed and resent you. Your very presence demands response. You do not fit because you cannot be neutral. The common thread, alienation as proof of vision across workplace, love, family, friendship, and strangers. The pattern is merciless. You are marked as different, not because you fail, but because you refuse illusion. You see through false ambition. You reject shallow intimacy. You disturb tradition. You drift from superficiality. You unsettle strangers. Do you not recognize the thread? Each setting reveals the same truth. Your alienation is the cost of vision. So the piercing questions press against you. How many times will you call yourself broken for seeing what others refuse? How many years will you mistake estrangement for failure when it is the proof of your clarity? How often will you apologize for refusing to live in masks when masks are what suffocate you? And most urgently, will you keep dimming yourself to earn belonging? Or will you accept that your very difference is the sign you are not meant to conform to this world as it is? Because Jung's warning is unrelenting. The one who begins to individuate will feel estranged from the collective. Your estrangement is not curse, but calling. And the examples of your life are not accidents, they are signs that your soul refuses to bow. The task before you is severe, but liberating, to stop interpreting alienation as defect and to begin honoring it as destiny. For only then does the exile you feel reveal its true nature, not punishment, but initiation. Would you like me to continue with Part 5? Mechanism analysis in the same detailed style, about 800 words, to keep building the sequence. Alienation is not random. It follows a structure as precise as a clock. The world is designed to reward those who comply with its rhythms, its illusions, its demands. But you cannot. And the reason is not weakness, but the merciless interplay of psychological, emotional, behavioral, ethical, and existential mechanisms that make conformity impossible for you. To understand why you feel you are not meant for this world, you must see how these forces operate. Psychological, the collapse of the persona. From childhood, you learned to wear a mask. You smiled when you wanted to cry. You obeyed when your soul resisted. You agreed to survive. That mask, the persona, was meant to help you belong. But for you, the persona has always been fragile. You sense the falseness, you feel the suffocation. Have you not noticed how quickly your energy drains when you pretend? How even brief moments of false agreement leave you hollow? The mechanism is merciless. Others thrive by wearing masks, but your psyche collapses under them. Your refusal is not rebellion, it is survival. Emotional sensitivity as magnifier. Your emotions do not adapt as easily as others. You feel what the world numbs. You absorb dissonance others dismiss. Have you not wondered why you leave ordinary gatherings exhausted, as if you carried a burden no one else noticed? Why you sense lies in a tone, betrayal in a glance, sorrow in silence? This sensitivity magnifies every fracture between you and the world. Others celebrate what you cannot endure. Shallow praise, empty ambition, dishonest civility. To them it is harmless. To you it is unbearable. And so you withdraw, not because you lack strength, but because you cannot numb yourself without killing something vital within. Behavioral withdrawal as instinct. Your patterns of withdrawal are not laziness, they are instinct. When the noise grows too loud, when the lies grow too thick, when the masks press too close, you retreat. You call it solitude, but others call it weakness. Yet ask yourself, how many times has retreat preserved your sanity? How many times has silence saved you from playing roles that would have destroyed you? The mechanism is clear. Your estrangement is behavioral protection. You leave not because you cannot participate, but because participation would demand self-betrayal. Ethical, the refusal to collude. At the moral level, your alienation grows sharper. You cannot call lies truth. You cannot call cruelty love. You cannot call corruption success. Have you not noticed how much of your anger is not personal but ethical? You are enraged not by inconvenience, but by dishonesty, injustice, manipulation. Others adjust. They justify, excuse, explain. But you cannot. Your soul revolts against collusion. And because you refuse to play along, you are branded as difficult, uncompromising, unfit. Yet, is this not integrity? Is this not fidelity to what you know is real? Existential estrangement as vocation. At the deepest level, your alienation is existential. You do not merely feel different. You feel as though you were sent for something else. This world's rhythms, ambitions, rituals, they do not feel like home. Do you not sometimes look at the frenzy of modern life and feel as though you are watching a play you were never meant to join? Do you not feel that your estrangement is less defect than direction, less punishment than purpose? Jung reminds you, Individuation demands estrangement. To become who you are, you must walk apart. Your not belonging is not exile, it is vocation. The interlocking cycle. Taken together, these layers form a cycle that sustains your estrangement. The persona collapses, sensitivity magnifies withdrawal, protects, ethics demand refusal. Vocation estranges you further. Each layer feeds the next. You cannot pretend long without breaking. You cannot silence your feelings without sickness. You cannot immerse in illusions without rage. And you cannot betray truth without betraying yourself. So the cycle repeats, forcing you apart again and again. Is it not clear now that your alienation is not accident, but necessity? The severe choice. So the piercing questions confront you. How long will you call this difference defect when it is evidence of integrity? How many years will you waste trying to numb yourself into the mold of a world that was never meant to hold you? How often will you apologize for refusing to collude when collusion would cost you your soul? And most urgently, will you keep mistaking exile for failure? Or will you honor it as the sign of your true path? Because Jung's warning is severe. What you repress will rule you. What you betray will consume you. The world demands your compliance, but your soul demands truth. And truth never fits. The merciless structure of your alienation proves it. You are not meant to belong to this world as it is. You are meant to live as witness, as mirror, as builder of another. The question is whether you will finally accept the cost. Do you want me to move forward with Part 6? Practical application around 900 words continuing the same solemn and cautionary style. If alienation is the sign that you are not meant to conform to this world, then the question becomes, how do you live it without collapse? Jung does not invite you to despair. He invites you to discipline. Estrangement cannot be erased, but it can be carried. And the way you carry it will decide whether your difference corrodes you into bitterness or consecrates you into vocation. Observation, learning to read the signs. The first task is observation. You must begin to see your alienation not as accident, but as revelation. Where do you feel most estranged? Is it in the chatter of shallow gatherings? Is it in workplaces that reward ambition without integrity? Is it in families that demand silence instead of truth? Each moment of discomfort is a map. Instead of blaming yourself for not fitting, ask, what exactly is being revealed here? What falsehood is being exposed by my refusal to adapt? How many times have you numbed yourself just to endure what your soul was already rejecting? Observation is not passive. It is the recognition that your estrangement points toward your calling. Boundaries, protecting the difference. The next step is boundaries. You cannot keep scattering your energy into environments that despise your depth. You must learn to say no. No to conversations that reduce you. No to obligations that corrode you. No to relationships that demand you betray yourself. Ask yourself how much of your exhaustion comes not from difference itself, but from constantly apologizing for it. Boundaries are not cruelty. They are the walls that preserve your rare integrity in a world addicted to noise. Without them, your estrangement will consume you. With them, it becomes strength. Shadow work, turning loneliness into solitude. Loneliness is inevitable when you walk apart. But you have a choice. Will you call it emptiness, or will you transform it into solitude? Shadow work demands you face the grief, the bitterness, the envy that come with alienation. How often have you looked at the crowd and envied their ease, even while despising their illusions? How often have you felt rage that you cannot belong? These are not weaknesses, they are wounds. If you refuse them, they will poison you. If you claim them, they will deepen you. Loneliness becomes solitude when you realize you are not being deprived, you are being preserved. The crowd cannot contain you, so you are called to stand apart. Will you let that truth embitter you, or will you let it refine you? Reframe from exclusion to preservation. The world will call you excluded, but you must reframe. You are not cast out, you are set apart. Your difference is not punishment, it is preservation. The world needs witnesses who refuse to collude with falsehood, who expose illusions by their very existence. Do you not already sense that your estrangement has a strange clarity, that your refusal to fit reveals what others deny? To reframe is to stop apologizing for what you are and to begin honoring it as destiny. Ask yourself, will I keep chasing belonging that corrodes me, or will I stand in difference and let it reveal my true task? Daily fidelity, the discipline of small acts. Grand declarations will not sustain you. Daily fidelity will. Each day you must practice one act that honors your difference. Speak one truth, however small, instead of joining the lie. Choose solitude for an hour instead of drowning in shallow distraction. Say no to one obligation that drains you. Protect one part of your energy that would otherwise be consumed. Ask yourself nightly, did I honor my estrangement today, or did I betray it for comfort? Did I act from integrity or from fear of rejection? These daily fidelities accumulate. Over months, they form the backbone of a life rooted in truth rather than illusion. Relationships. Letting alienation purify bonds. Your difference will test every bond you have. Some will collapse under the pressure, others will endure. When you stop apologizing for your alienation, people reveal themselves. Those who loved you only for your compliance will accuse you of arrogance, selfishness, coldness. Those who love you for your truth will remain even if they struggle to understand. This test is painful, but it is purification. Ask yourself, who thrives when I betray myself, and who thrives when I stand whole? Who collapses when I speak truth, and who grows stronger? Do not fear the collapse. It is not rejection, it is revelation. Service, living the vocation of difference. Finally, you must learn to serve. Not by erasing yourself, but by offering your difference as gift. The world will not change through your compliance, it will change through your witness. Where today can you speak what others dare not? Where can your solitude birth insight others need? Where can your refusal to collude open space for truth? Service rooted in estrangement is not about pleasing, it is about revealing. You are not meant to fit, you are meant to carry light into places addicted to darkness. Will you waste your energy begging to belong, or will you use it to build what does not yet exist? The severe patience, enduring the cost. Do not expect ease. Alienation will not vanish. Estrangement will not dissolve. You will feel lonely. You will feel misunderstood. You will be accused. But this is the cost of difference. The task is not to erase it, but to endure it with patience until its fruit is revealed. Each day you stand in your difference, you become less apologetic and more whole. Each year you honor your alienation, you become less bitter and more luminous. Ask yourself daily, will I collapse under the weight of exile, or will I carry it as crown? Because the truth is severe, you are not meant for this world as it is. That is why you cannot thrive in its illusions. But the same estrangement that isolates you also preserves you. The world may reject your difference, but it cannot erase it. The only question is whether you will betray it or live it as destiny. Would you like me to now complete Part 7? Conclusion and CTA, around 350 words, to close the sequence with the same solemn Jungian tone. Your sense of exile is not madness, not weakness, not defect. It is the echo of your true vocation. Jung warned that the soul which refuses illusion will feel estranged from the collective. That estrangement is not punishment. It is the first proof of integrity. You feel you are not meant for this world because you are not meant for its illusions, its masks, its shallow games. You are meant for something deeper, something real, something yet to be built. So the piercing questions rise now. How long will you keep apologizing for what sets you apart? How many years will you keep forcing yourself into gatherings that drain you, roles that suffocate you, lies that corrode you? How often will you call yourself broken when in truth you are preserved? And most urgently, will you waste your life chasing belonging in places that cannot hold you? Or will you finally carry your estrangement as crown instead of chain? Your alienation is initiation. It strips away comfort so that truth may stand. It severs shallow bonds so that real ones may emerge. It wounds you so that you might learn to serve without collusion. The price is severe, but the fruit is wholeness. Do you not already sense that the life you long for will never be found by blending in, but only by standing apart? The call before you is merciless, but liberating. Stop treating your difference as disease. Stop silencing your vision to soothe the blind. Stop betraying your soul for a seat among the crowd. Instead, honor your estrangement. Carry it as responsibility. Let it guide you into the truth that this world resists but desperately needs. Because in the end, the question that cannot be avoided is this: will you betray yourself for the comfort of belonging, or will you dare to live as one not meant for this world? Mirror, witness, builder of another. The choice is yours, and it will define your life.